Coming up on TekThing, Oculus Go and Lenovo Mirage Solo. Let's talk affordable VR. Mother's Day, yo, people is ours. Digital photo frame, worth the cash, Google VR180. Let's talk about Lenovo's Mirage Camera. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot more coming up on TekThing. A big shout out to our patrons, Sonny, Abe, Donald, Craig, and Carlo. Thanks to patrons like them, we can make TekThing each and every week. Thanks to all of our patrons. Join the crew that makes TekThing possible at patreon.com/TekThing.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patrick Norton.
And this is TekThing, where we have something useful in every single show.
And today we are talking about mothers.
Yes, that's true, we are.
It's Mother. Well, it is several days before Mother's Day.
Yes, it's on Sunday, I believe, on the 13th.
Are you fully prepared for Mother's Day?
I am. This is like one of the first Mother's Days where I actually got a card in the mail on time.
Impressive.
Yeah, that rarely happens on our side of the family.
There will be a lot of emailing of pictures to my mother and possibly a last-minute Amazon order later on this afternoon.
We'll get it out today so that it'll get to her on time for Sunday.
We'll first have to figure out if she's in Florida or New Jersey, but that's a whole other story. My mom is like moving fast. Speaking of omniscient powers and know exactly what you're doing entirely too much of the time, happy Mother's Day, Mom. Is anybody other than me kind of creeped out by EarthNow? Have you seen this?
What is EarthNow?
Okay, I'm just going to read the quote for you right here off the page. At EarthNow, we're creating the means for you to instantly see almost anywhere on Earth in true, real time, giving you a live and unfiltered view of your planet. Our aim is for you to experience Earth's beauty and its fragility and to recognize the importance of being good stewards of our world.
Real time.
Real time.
Okay.
Wasn't there a whole movie with Will Smith talking about stuff like this, except it wasn't publicly accessible? I mean, I was looking at, this is one of those PR announcements, I was like, yeah. And then I'm like, oh, Bill Gates is involved.
Oh.
SoftBank is involved.
Okay.
Maybe it's for good, but there's still part of me that's like, and for an extra $40 a month, get the EarthNow 8K feed, scan license plates from space, and stalk your irritating friends and neighbors no matter where they hide on the surface of the planet.
But that's not a thing yet, is it?
It's not a thing yet.
Yes.
But, you know.
Until they need to start making money, and then they'll make it publicly accessible.
With EarthNow, you can catch illegal fishing ships in the act, watch hurricanes and typhoons as they evolve, detect forest fires the moment they start, watch volcanoes the instant they start to erupt, assist the media in telling stories from around the world.
Okay, well, in the case of watching volcanoes as they erupt, I think that's extremely fascinating because I think in another life I should have been a volcanologist. So I'm okay with that part.
Yeah, but you know, if you can use it to spot forest fires,
you can spot other things as well. Yeah.
That just kind of struck me. It was a thing.
Huh, interesting. Well, I'll check it out for good reasons, like watching volcanoes.
Use the technology for good. Oh man. Speaking of technology, for years, affordable VR, it's been about stuffing your cell phone into Google Cardboard or some kind of strap-on thing that attaches the phone to your face. And I'm gonna, here, I saved this for you.
Yay! Oh wait. Oh.
And the truth is the cell phone-based VR isn't exactly cheap, right? If you don't already own a $600 or $800 Samsung or Google Pixel or other high-end phone, you can't really do the cardboard thing. Feel free to email ask@tekthing.com to tell me about all of the affordable phones you've used for VR. But last week was very good for affordable VR. Oculus released this, the $199 Go, $250 with 64 gigabytes of memory, while Lenovo launched the $399 Mirage Solo with Daydream.
Ooh.
So, my question, is it time for us folks in the cheap seats to buy into VR? Have you been waiting? Because I feel you've been on the fence on this one with me.
I have the Daydream VR, which was free when I bought my Pixel phone, and that was really fun to mess around with Daydream.
For several minutes.
But honestly, like, I don't use it that often because it's just for entertainment, really. There's not a lot of applications available when I was playing with it.
Yeah.
That might have changed now that they've come out with more headsets and more accessibility at that cheaper price margin. But tell me what you think, because I haven't gotten to play with these yet.
Let's start with what these VR headsets have in common. First of all, they are standalone. You don't need a phone, you don't need a PC, you don't need a PlayStation, there's no external hardware required. This is it. There is no cable to trip over. You strap it onto your head and you go. Both of them pack 5.5-inch 2560 by 1440 displays. They look great. Way better than a cell phone in a box. And they're higher resolution than the OLED screens inside the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive. And we could get sort of granular about what's going on in the screens, but I think I actually like these better than sort of the first generation PC-based
Yeah, I can understand
headsets.
that. I can understand that.
The controllers are really easy to use, mostly because they're simple. Now, you can't use these to emulate a hand, which really sucks compared to the Rift or the Vive.
Yeah, where you actually can like grip things and stuff.
Can't do that, which
Okay.
sucks for both of them. But you basically have like, I'm going to click and click and click, or in this case, click, 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 and in this case, click, click, click.
Okay.
Not a single sign of anyone vomiting or getting seasick so far.
That's good.
Yes. So looking at like the tail of the tape, the Mirage Solo beats the Oculus Go on processor speed, on memory, on degrees of freedom, along with the maximum refresh rate on the screen. The Go, which sells for $200, runs at 60 hertz, unless the developer calls for 72 hertz, while the Mirage can run at 75 hertz.
Oh.
These are nowhere near the 90 hertz refresh rate of the Rift or the Vive, but again, no issues using these screens till the battery wore out.
Gotcha.
Not with small children, not with adults. That is a big deal for me because not vomiting upon eyeball contact with VR was a really big problem when the first Oculus Rift developers kit came out.
I remember those days.
And that has really soured a lot of people.
Yes, it has.
Which
Which is
is-
unfortunate because it's gone so far now. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like the HTC Vive Pro, when I tried that at CES, incredible.
Yeah.
But these are so cool and for like half the price.
Oh my goodness.
And you don't need all those additional things.
well, I do like the additional things, but we'll talk about that.
I do too.
On paper, the biggest difference between the Go and the Mirage Solo is the Mirage Solo has Google's WorldSense motion tracking. That gives it 6 degrees of freedom, and if you want to get fancy, they talk about it being from the inside out. So instead of there being, I have a couple of boxes in the corner, or some other tracking system, it uses these cameras right here to track across the objects in the room. So your perspective changes as you duck under branches in a skiing game, right?
I like that.
Or if you lean towards the chair and bait, because really fishing games are what I live for. When you lean towards the, it's funny, with 3 degrees of freedom, pretend this is the arm on the chair. With 3 degrees of freedom, it stays a fixed distance from you.
Right, yeah.
Right? And with 6 degrees of freedom, as you lean in, it gets
It
bigger.
gets bigger and your depth perception changes.
Yeah, and if you lean towards something and it goes away from you, it just breaks the whole virtual reality thing.
Yep.
So, is leaning towards a chair worth paying twice as much for the Mirage? Probably not for most folks, but as more and more apps take advantage of 6 degrees of freedom, I think more and more folks are going to be like, oh, I wish I could do that. Also,
Yeah.
I think for professionals who need an inexpensive headset to mouse about or mess about, or yes, Mr. Norton, I have a $35,000 workstation and an application that costs me $15,000 a year to rent, but please call it mousing about. For people who are kind of the expert side of things, I think the 6 degrees of freedom is worth paying a lot more money. For the average person out there that you're like, I just want to tip a toe into VR, the Go has some advantages. First of all, at 1 pound, it is significantly lighter, almost a half a pound less than the Mirage Solo.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's surprising.
You won't notice it in the first 5 or 10 minutes, but by the second 20 or 30 minutes, you might pick up on that.
That's really cool.
As Shannon pointed out to me, the Mirage Solo does have one tremendous advantage over the Go. You can't really see it unless I kind of do nostril cam, but there's a big space under here
Yep.
that
there
is lets a lot of light in, which is
Yes.
really irritating unless you.
And I don't have that small of a nose, and I could see my feet underneath me. So you can it definitely brings in light.
I mean, if you jam the Go into the point where the lenses are starting to bang against the bridge of your nose.
And I can't do that, or it'll give me a headache if it's stuck too
Yeah.
close to my cheeks.
So, the Go is somewhat more comfortable and decidedly easier to adjust to your head. For me, you actually found the Mirage Solos.
I prefer that a lot more because it doesn't pull my hair with the Velcro straps.
Well, I have no hair, so I can't really offer any thoughts on that.
So if you're on this side of the aisle with less hair, you would probably like the Go more. If you're on my side of the aisle with more hair or a ponytail, for example, you might like the Lenovo version.
This does have the ponytail access
I
in
do
the
like
back.
the ponytail access. That's kind of cool.
One of the things I really love about the Oculus Go, for casual use, there's actually speakers built in,
Oh, cool.
which I love because it's easier if you're like, hey, try this thing out, if you don't have to be like, hey, you want to try this thing out? Put these earbuds in or put this on and then put the headphones on. This is also half the price of the Solo, and technically, as the Go shares a library with Gear VR, has more titles, technically. Something like 1,000 games or VR experiences or puzzles or whatever versus Daydream's 350.
That's a big difference.
Less than 100 of Daydream's titles are actively optimized for WorldSense, so you can lean and duck and take advantage of the 6 degrees of freedom.
Okay.
That said, a friend of mine who popped the Go on immediately said, isn't this Daydream? Well, the Oculus Go isn't Daydream technically, and it has more games, but it's kind of hard to tell if you're not looking at the interface differences. I was going to say Android VR could use more titles, but frankly, all VR could use more titles.
Yes.
Lots more titles. Like right now, it really reminds me of Roku apps. There may be 3,500 Roku apps, but folks care about 30 of them. Max, most folks, maybe. The Mirage Solo has some pretty serious advantages in battery life over the Go. 4,000 milliamp hour battery. They promise, Lenovo says 2 hours, but it typically lasted well over 3 hours for me. There's a micro SD card slot, which makes adding more memory or swapping in media easy. If you buy the $200 version of this, you have 32 gigabytes, and that may bite you on the ass as applications get bigger. I really wish the Go had a micro SD card slot. I also wish the Go had USB-C, like the Mirage, because I'm starting to really hate micro USB.
Yay!
For no particular reason.
You're joining my side of the fence.
Oh, I'm there. I mean, I have to suffer the pains of lightning until I dump my iPhone, but I'm over micro USB.
I am a USB-C fan.
Oh my goodness. The Go could use a larger battery. Oculus claims like 2 hours of gaming or 2.5 hours of video from a 3-hour charge. 3-hour charge. You might not game for that long, but watching a movie on a virtual VR screen is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was nice because you sit there and you lay in bed and the screen's up above you.
It is pretty cool.
You don't end up with a hurt neck. And if the Go is updating apps in the background, which it often does, you don't want to try to watch one of the Lord of the Rings movies because you'll run out of battery life before you run out of Frodo's suffering. No! I like the Mirage Solo. I just wish WorldSense let me move around a bit more. You've got maybe a square meter of movement before Daydream panics and tells you to get back in your spot, back, Norton, back. I also wish it was a bit lighter, but I gotta say, 6 degrees of freedom is pretty awesome.
Very cool.
Most folks, though, if you don't want to cable yourself to a gaming PC, the call is pretty easy. With better optics, like the Fresnel lenses and VR-specific screen, Go's going to look better than Gear VR. It's a ways to go before Oculus's Santa Cruz, that's their standalone, full-res, full Oculus environment, shows up. You can expect that to be pricey. The Go may be limited. Hint, spend the extra $50 for the 64 gigabyte version if you can, especially if this is for a family with diverging interests. But I probably would say this is the cheapest way to take the big step up from strapping a phone to your face.
Right.
Or using the little sort of mock glass holders to space the phone from your nose. The Mirage Solo is one of the coolest things I've had my skull inside of, but probably for most people, it's not worth the extra $200.
Yeah. I definitely prefer that one just for comfort, for the hair, and for all of the Daydream capabilities. I just think it's super fun and cool. But if you want to save the money and you want to step into VR, Oculus Go is the way to go.
Yeah.
Oculus Go is the way to go.
People, oh
Such a
my
nerd.
goodness. I would also say, don't be surprised if you buy it and in 6 months you're like, have I used that? Because you're either going to find some games that you absolutely adore, like Wands is really interesting because they're taking the whole sort of, I am using a wand to battle with another wizardy kind of person, but not Harry Potter wizardy because we're not part of Pottermore. But that also has a social element and playing with strangers. Yeah. It's actually pretty cool. I feel like VR is so close.
Yeah, it's getting there. Let us know what you think, or if you have any questions about these, or if you want us to test other VR headsets, we would love to. It's something that I've been obsessing over, as well as Patrick. Email us, ask@tekthing.com, or you can tweet @TekThing, @PatrickNorton, and @Snubs.
Kids love these. I thought digital picture frames were dead, but there are a ton of 8 to 10 inch picture frames on Amazon from $80 to $160. There's literally like dozens, perhaps even thousands of them.
Oh, geez.
Many of them well reviewed, but they have two things in common: low resolution screens and cheap looking plastic frames. Doesn't Mom deserve something more, Shannon? Something that makes it incredibly easy to share pics of the grandkids with Mom?
I feel this is like perfect timing too, because you got the picture of the new baby and my mom in there with the grandbaby, so that's like perfect timing.
Sun shines even on a dog's ass once in a while.
I haven't found one that actually beats this digital picture frame. It's from Aura. It's Aura's 9.7-inch digital picture frame, and it costs 2 or 3 times more than the best rated frames on Amazon. But it's worth mentioning too, if you look at those reviews on FakeSpot, a lot of them have like 5-star reviews, but they're fake. So Aura's are actually pretty legitimate reviews. So it costs $299 right now, and that's $100 off of their regular $399 MSRP. So this is going to be my Mother's Day gift pick. even though, yes, it is pricey. And I will get to that pricing a little bit more later on. So if she doesn't like it, though, it also has this 45-day happiness guarantee. So she could always send it back if she just does not want all this technology in her household.
45 days of guaranteed happiness.
I know, it's so sweet. So first off, the screen is a 9.7-inch 4x3 backlit LED. It's bright, it's clearly detailed, it has very accurate colors, and it's a 1536 by 2048 resolution, which is much higher than a lot of those cheap frames that I saw on Amazon. So of course, I was instantly impressed by this one. I thought it was really, really nice. It also has this really cool feature where it auto dims if you cover up the sensors on the bottom, and it auto brights depending on the brightness of the room. So if you turn off your lights at night and this thing is way too bright for you, don't worry, because it'll auto dim for you.
Which is pretty
cool.
awesome.
You can change the on and off schedule in the application, but you cannot change the brightness level on this. So it is worth noting that you can't actually manually change those brightness levels, which may be good or may be bad. The Aura does blend with most of your home decor. It comes in, or your shirts, yeah. Actually, there is a blue version, so you could totally buy that one and match your shirt. So it comes in a new quartz color, which they just came out with. There's cobalt blue, there's charcoal, crystal blue, and then this one is the ivory with rose gold trim. And I prefer rose gold, so I'm really happy that they sent me this one for the review. It also comes with a mounting hook and a stand in the box along with the power adapter. And luckily, you can switch around that little mounting stand. So if you want to do it vertically or horizontally, you can totally switch it around. Doesn't matter. You can do it either way. So it looks really good. But what makes this Aura digital picture frame stand out is that it has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity to the Aura app, where you can basically feed photos to the frame. So you can also invite family members to also feed photos to it as well.
Instant photos to grandma.
It's so cool, and it'll auto-publish all of those pictures to the frame. So it has unlimited storage because it's just doing it straight through the application. It doesn't require an SD card. There's no cloud service subscription, nothing like that. And what I found is cheaper frames from Amazon that I used to buy, those generally require an SD card to be filled up with photos and then put on the frame. And you don't get updated remotely with new pictures of your kids while they're out on vacation or whatever it means.
Okay, Mom, right click, select, drag. Oh, you didn't put the SD card? Okay, go to the photo frame.
So how great is that? That like you
It's
can give
pretty
this to
awesome.
your grandma. You can just like invite her, and you can invite yourself to the application, and you can just auto-publish pictures whenever you go on vacation overseas, so your grandma can see what you're doing. Like I instantly was like, I would love to give this to my mom and take pictures while I'm in Japan, and while she's walking around in her living room and sees this, she could be like, oh my gosh, there's Shannon at this new temple. Like look, she's there right now. Like that's so cool to me.
It is
so
really
you
cool.
might be wondering about security. And I
No, we don't do
imagine-
that here.
I know. Right. This is an IoT device. You are giving the Aura application access to your photos so it can update, but you do have control over which photos that you can add to the frame.
cool.
So if a family member adds a photo that you don't like, you can remove it, you can hide it, you can also click a little favorite button and it gives it a little heart graph to your person that sent you that picture, so they know that you like that picture. Nudity is filtered out by the Aura's app Smart Filtering, along with photos of sensitive data like credit cards or passports. Now I did test this with some adult content. They were actually Roman statues that I took pictures of in Rome, which I consider art, but I was worried that it would just filter them out.
Right.
It did not filter these out. It let those pass through, but I did not feel comfortable taking photos of personal documents or anything else to test the app with, because that would be giving access to the Aura application and those photos. So I didn't want to put any sensitive pictures on there. So my word of advice would be just don't upload those pictures through the application, and you could just put pictures of like your grandkids or your vacations on there.
Well, if you have
It's
that
just
one
fine.
niece or nephew that's a little racy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really sorry, Grandma. Those were supposed to be for my girlfriend.
You can view all of the photos in the application in real time, even if you are away from home. So if your frame loses its Wi-Fi connection, it will continue to display photos for 24 hours without Wi-Fi, and then it will display a message alerting you that the frame has lost connection. So you do have time to reconnect it before it just says, hey, I lost connection. And it is kind of nice that it continues to update those pictures as necessary until finally it's like, I can't update anymore. what's going on? No Wi-Fi. There are sensors at the bottom that change to the next photo. You can do right or left gesture control. The gesture control is kind of finicky, I noticed. You have to be very precise with your movements or it won't register. So you're doing a very, very fine job of those gesture controls right now.
I'm a robot.
You're doing an excellent, excellent job.
But
and I love that it's automatically filtering the pictures to the face in the picture, as opposed to like when you vertically stand it and it's a horizontal picture, like cropping it over here or over there. So it's automatically getting my face. That's nice.
Did you have to set that up or does it do it automatically?
So you can crop the photos on your own. You can do them manually. And that does work really well, especially for vertical photos on the horizontal picture frame. But it looks like I didn't crop all the ones that are actually horizontal pictures. It's just smart filtering to the face in the photo whenever you flip it the other way. So
How much
that's kind of cool.
Would you pay for it now?
Yeah, so currently the frame is in horizontal mode when he had it that way. Vertical photos do get cropped and you can edit where that crop happens. You can change it either way and it will instantly flip photos to the correct position,
I love that.
which is also very nice and intelligent. There is no good way to reorder the photos on the screen, so you can't like choose all the pictures from Japan or something, but you can stick them in different photo or different folders. You just can't edit and say this one shows up first, this one second.
So if you number them in order, grandma's not going to, or mom's not going to get a tour.
Yeah.
It's just going to do its thing.
It's just going to do its thing. However, you uploaded them to the application. So the first one you uploaded is the first one that they see. The last one is the last one that they see. And then it intelligently just goes through them whenever it can.
Oh, I thought it might just shuffle them randomly for its own amusement.
It's supposed to be smart shuffling, but I don't know how it does the smart shuffling. I think it's based on like if you favorite a picture. So like I just gave that one 2 hearts, and then I can gesture down and make that disappear. Yeah, sometimes it works. It's so finicky. So the Aura does use that smart shuffling to determine which photos it's going to show you, but it's just a little weird how it works. I can imagine giving this to my mom, who recently became a grandma, like I mentioned earlier, and I'm so excited about my new god baby. She's so cute. So she can see all those baby photos from my sister, because my sister lives kind of like in a galaxy far away. But for $300, even on sale, yikes, it's a little bit expensive. I would immediately buy this if it was $250 or $200, but $299 feels almost like it's cutting out a huge potential market, because this digital picture frame, although amazing and gorgeous and incredible, we've never seen one that expensive on the market. And
well, maybe like 20 years ago when they
like
first came out.
I feel like to compete, they should lower that price a little bit. But if you could find it secondhand or maybe 50% off or a little bit cheaper, I would totally buy it instantly.
So you feel like 200 would be the natch price for this?
Yeah, I would say 200, maybe 250 if it's a good month. If like I got a bonus or something, then I'd be like, okay, I'll buy it. But I don't know, $300, $400, that's just a little bit too much for me.
It is vastly better than I think any digital photo frame we've seen.
It's amazing. It's the best one I've seen. So I'm so happy I got to review this in person, and I'm super excited about this. And I do want to buy one for my mom, but I think I might wait until it's a little cheaper. Stop, you're so weird.
I am weird.
So you can check it out. I'll put all the links in the show notes below where you can purchase one if you're interested in it. And if you buy one today on Amazon, they are on Prime, so you could get one by Mother's Day if you wanted to. And that's why I wanted to mention it today. So let me know what you think. I'm at Snubs on Twitter, or you can tweet at TekThing, or you can email me, ask@tekthing.com.
We love your questions, your tips, and your suggestions of products and ideas to check out. Ask@tekthing.com is the place to send them, or you can tweet at TekThing, at Snubs, or at Patrick Norton. And a big shout out to our patrons at patreon.com/TekThing. You pay the bills, you make the show possible, and quite frankly, you keep my family fed. Thank you, patrons. Join the crew that makes TekThing happen at patreon.com/TekThing. All of our patrons get access to a new Patreon-only podcast with Shannon and I. Hint, I suspect there will be large talk of VR, as in fad-like 3D TVs, or to awesome future of gaming. Our $10 and up patrons have a Google Hangout with Shannon and I, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, on May 24th. And seriously, thank you, each and every one of you, for supporting TekThing, no matter how you do it. Google's VR180 has a simple goal: make it easy to take pictures and record videos for VR. Capture, share, relive.
All the things.
All the things. Yeah, it's basically about software that's easy to use and fairly cheap hardware. And it's VR180. Oh, wait.
Oh, there you go.
Look, we've just taken a 180-degree hemispheric photo. And look, I'll get you in this shot. So this is Lenovo's Mirage Camera with Daydream. It's like the first Google VR180 camera. The $299 price tag, not that much cheaper than most consumer 3D cameras, but it's certainly easier to operate. Literally, point and shoot VR. In large part because it only captures the 180-degree hemisphere in front of the camera. Look,
right.
I'm capturing Shannon. Well, actually, and myself now. Simple is the word here. A stylish white brick, like a bar of soap, with 3 buttons on top, 3 backlit icons on the back, and those 13 megapixel cameras on the front, like eyes staring at you. The smallest button on top powers it up. The largest trips the shutter. The third button switches between the 3 modes, still, video, and a live broadcast mode. A door flips open if you want to do USB-C charging.
Yay, USB-C!
And more importantly, a micro SD card.
Yay!
Well, it's funny, there's like 16 gigs on board. I think 9's accessible
Right.
for storage, so
Yeah.
you won't run out of the house and be like, oh, I missed the picture of Timmy going to school the first time because I didn't have an SD card in my camera. Weighs like
Which is
5
nice.
ounces. It's really pocket friendly.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That means I can fit it in my back pocket.
Yeah, it's like 4 inches long, 2 inches high, and it weighs nothing. There is no display. The Mirage Camera is literally point and shoot, and not that good for selfies because your arms are in there. You can use Google's VR180 app on your phone to see what the camera sees in real time, but really after a few shots, you'll get a feel for capturing 180 degrees with the click of a button. Although Shannon and I both discovered that fingers are a problem.
Fingers.
Just like
Yep.
360-degree photography, a big part of capturing 180-degree images is keeping your hands out of the shot. Just hold the camera by the edges and you'll be fine. Maybe. I mean, I will say it's still better than having your cousin moon you in that once-in-a-lifetime shot at the eclipse in the 360-degree video. I'm not going to show that. It's a long story.
So I did get to test out the VR180 app a little bit while I was messing around with this camera a couple of days ago, and it acts as a display for the Mirage. It works as a remote and a soft shutter trigger, and it controls the resolution that you are capturing up to 4K for stills, which is awesome, and 9 megapixels for video. And you will want to turn them up because the storage is so cheap, and I found that they look a lot better on your computer whenever you do kind of turn them up all the way.
Yeah.
The VR180 apps lets you view and download the images that you have captured to share with others, and I found since I automatically had Google Photos, I was just able to download them straight to my Android phone, and my Android phone automatically backed them up to my computer, which was excellent and made it very easy for me to share these pictures online with people, like on Facebook, for example. But of course, I could also do that live video via YouTube as well if I just wanted to use this and not the application. Now, while, as you can see, a VR headset is the most immersive way to experience VR180, I was surprised at how much I personally enjoyed panning around the 180-degree Mirage captures on a 2D screen. For example, I was able to automagically do this on my Android device and just turn on the gyroscope and let it do it for me, which
It
is
works on
so
an iPhone
cool.
too.
Oh, that's good.
I was actually,
Awesome.
I think we were both kind of shocked, like, this is actually really cool.
Yeah. Which I've tried it out a little bit in YouTube videos that people have done of like 360 videos, but usually if it's not my own if it's not my own data, I'm just like, oh, okay, this is cool, and then I put down my phone.
The slideshows of the 21st century. Google. So yeah, there's a Google Photos tie-in. So your friends and family don't have to have VR gear at home. They can just open a Google Photos link, click on the circled arrow, and scoot around your snaps and videos. Just make sure you tell mom to go into the lower right-hand corner and max out the resolution.
Yes.
Because a lot of times it'll sort of default to 320p, which actually, where are the night herons?
The night herons.
The night heron. There's the night herons.
Yes, the night herons.
Well, the first time I looked at this,
The
I'm like, this
birds.
camera is atrocious. And then I finally figured out that, oh, it was set to 320p instead
Yeah.
of 2160.
And also, when you first back them up, like currently my photos are backing up to Google Photos, they will automatically back up to 360p or 320p, and then they will go up to to the 4K resolution.
It
So
backfills the
it
fastest
won't
first.
instantly back up. It'll just back up at the lowest resolution first.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar to how YouTube does.
You'll probably want to practice before the big vacation to get a feel for what works best in VR 180.
Definitely.
Cityscapes like this crane look a little odd.
Whoa!
Well, okay.
Everything's warped.
Everything's warped, yeah. Because what happens is it takes that square image we just saw and it maps it out. Does like it projects it onto a 180-degree hemisphere. Which I mean, I'll admit this is kind of an odd shot, but I assure you, this building over here and this crane do not look. I particularly like the crane, but you can see right up here where they kind of fold the image together.
Yes, yeah.
And that does weird things. You found actually that I was like, I cannot see an open skyline anywhere I am.
Right, yeah. I actually ended up taking a few photos, which I have here on my computer, and I'll pull them up for you so you can see them in full res. But this is a picture that I took of a little yacht, and I just forgot I don't have a touch screen, so I can't touch my screen. There we go. So if I move around on my laptop, you can see that as far as the horizon goes, it's perfectly straight. It's perfectly fine. But when I get to closer up things like this sidewalk barrier right here, that also gets a little stretched and a little out of place. You know, it's warped, just like what you saw with the cityscape. But if you're taking a beautiful landscape view of something that's far away, it does it perfectly fine. There's no issues. I also noticed if you're viewing these things on your phone, they don't seem as warped, which is great. And I think that's because it's trying to tie you into that 360 view as you're moving around, so it doesn't warp everything and give you those strange like barriers all construed and everything.
Some things in life just work better on an app.
Apparently.
You also kind of want to hold the camera for video, especially. Hold it steady, concentrate on what's in front of you rather than panning left or right.
Yeah.
If you take a look at the video on my screen right now, what VR180 does to prevent viewers from getting disoriented when the camera changes direction, the view goes dark until you turn your head towards the way the camera. So I just pan the camera up and it should pan left, and look, the screen's going dark.
Right.
I should have done a much slower, longer pan. But what happens is if you don't sort of turn into that, you end up with a screen that looks dark until you turn into the video. It's probably a lot better than Dad tipping over and cracking his head or cleaning Aunt Bee's vomit off the floor. But generally speaking, stick to taking videos of what's in front of you. I have a feeling this would be really fun to take skiing or getting your action cam on the front of a bicycle.
That'd be cool.
While we're talking video, the mics work. And it essentially has two of them. It would be nice if they did a better job of rejecting wind noise. And because I'm an audio guy, I would like a more magnificent sense of space, 360-degree enclosing of audio.
Even my DSLR doesn't do a good job with audio. I have to use an external microphone, but I don't believe that has an audio jack on it.
Not that I have found, but perhaps I'm merely looking in the wrong place.
So definitely better if you're not planning on getting clear crystal audio out of this, you might want to use an external audio recorder.
In which case, the whole ease of use thing is falling out the window at that point. Really cool. Figure 2 hours of boost for battery. That's not so cool, but Lenovo actually includes 2 batteries with the Mirage.
That's nice.
Along with a stylish carrying sack that includes a place to store the battery you're not using.
Yay.
Oh my goodness. I might just suck with all the 360-degree cameras I've played around with, but I think the Lenovo Mirage is easier to use than most 360-degree cameras, probably because it's just so easy to set up a 180-degree view. Just don't do what I just did, which is leave your fingers out in front, because then it looks like, you know, Godzilla reaching around you. It's always
the issue, right? The fingers.
The fingers are the issue. Oh my goodness. But unlike most 360-degree cameras, it doesn't beg for a tripod. You can see what's in front of you, which can be nice for keeping your cousin's ass out of the shot.
It does have a tripod mount, though, which is very nice.
I do think so. I can see friends in real estate drooling over this already. It's a fun way to capture pics of the kids to share with the family. I don't think I'll be buying Mom a Mirage Camera, but I can totally see me sending links of the VR180 pics and videos to Mom taken with a camera like this. Thumbs up?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
I think we're both thumbs up on that.
Absolutely.
It's, you know, because I looked at this and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a gadget. This is going to be a gadget that gets used 3 times and forgotten. I thought it was pretty cool.
I think it's great. I could take this with me on vacation somewhere along with my DSLR.
Right.
It's not going to replace my normal camera usage, but it would be something that is so shareable and super fun to, it's an experience more so than anything. I think it's an experience.
Relive
Those experiences.
That's what Google's saying. Relive your experiences. Oh, and keep an eye on your Google Drive storage.
Yes, definitely. Let us know what you think. You can email us at TekThing.com.
That 6 terabyte drive bargain I mentioned last week, actually it was 8 terabytes.
Oh.
Yes. Props to Cantankerous Dave, who posted on youtube.com/TekThing. Shannon, Best Buy had their 8 terabyte Easy Store external drives on sale yesterday for $150. They're actually WD Red drives inside. I have 4, so I can confirm. Just shuck them and use them as internal drives. And I was going to go buy one to shuck, and then the day before, see it says $300 in the corner. The day before that, the day before I went to go to Best Buy, it was $169.97.
Man,
so
I missed out.
$170 is $79 off of a $249 8 terabyte WD Red, or last week's price. This week's price is $300. So it's kind of crazy. It was $249 on sale for $180 around here, and then went back up. Not $70, but like $130 to $300 for an 8 terabyte drive.
Okay, I'm gonna camel that one.
You should camel that one.
That's awesome though. Thank you for the mention. And if those go down in price again, I'm definitely gonna grab like 4 of them for my Synology and just upgrade all of them.
Hold that thought, because Don emailed us.
Oh.
Don says there are major disadvantages of removing WD Red drives from external enclosures.
Oh, really?
As soon as you open the external enclosure, you void the warranty. Also, the 8 terabyte Red loose drive have an extra year of warranty, and as you didn't pry them from the enclosure, your warranty is still good. Best Buy's WD external drive in warranty, purchased on 8/14/2017, expires 8/14/2019. That's 464 days left. Amazon WD Red bag drive in warranty, purchased on 8/14/2017, expires 8/13/2020. 829 days left.
Wow.
Also, putting in the bare drive serial number for an external drive comes up as a WD external drive, not a loose drive, which means you probably have to return the entire external enclosure to attempt a warranty claim. Heads up! Thanks, Don.
Oh man, that's
Yeah,
a good
thanks,
point.
Don.
Although honestly, I never buy into warranties, and I never really use warranties unless it's my Android phone, which I've had to use like 3 times.
I will say warranties influence me on hard drives and power supplies.
Really?
Because for not much more, there are a lot of power supply companies right now, or like the PSUs for desktop builds, where you're getting a 10-year warranty.
Wow.
And Alan and I were talking about GPUs. If you spend a little bit extra for some of the GPUs, you often get at least a year, and sometimes as much as twice the warranty on the GPU, and which usually means they are putting better components on the board around the GPU. Like the GPU is never going to fail, but the capacitors around it might be crap. But if you spend extra for the extra warranty, it's something to think about. But yeah, most of the time, like, do you want to buy an extended warranty? No. Are you ever going to use this warranty?
Extended warranties are good.
Yeah. Sometimes. They've paid off on every car I've ever gotten an extended warranty on.
Also, before we close out the show today, I did want to mention over on my computer, I had randomly read this article like last week. FTC gives Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo 30 days to get rid of the illegal warranty void if removed stickers. So they just recently changed it to making the warranty void if removed stickers illegal. So they have to get rid of those. So I don't know if that's going to change how warranties work for opening products now, but it might, at least here in the USA.
Oh my goodness. I'm just thinking about iFixit right now.
I know, right?
Thanks to Hack5 for the studio space we shoot TekThing inside of right here, people. Yeah, do yourself some favor. Check out the Security and Privacy Podcast at hack5.org and check out the Hack5 gear and get your security on.
Yes. And if you like going analog with board games, I know I do, Nick heard Patrick's shout out for kid-friendly board games, and he wrote ask@tekthing.com. He said, "Here's all the games I played with friends at this year's International Tabletop Day last weekend. It was a blast. Everyone showed up and we played most of the day with little to no technology involved." Nick, that's awesome. You still have to post pics to Instagram, am I right? That's so cute. And here he has a ton of photos. He was playing Clank, and he says, "Clank is a great deck-building dungeon crawler. We had 2 copies of the same game being played at the same time on one table." He also played Bonanza. He says, "Then we played Bonanza, where you trade different kinds of beans in order to plant as many as we can to harvest them for big money. The cool thing about this card game is you cannot reorganize your cards in your hand. You have to play whatever card is the front card in your hand, even if it might hurt your score." And then he played Las Vegas, and he says, "Las Vegas is a great dice rolling area control game where you have to assign all of 1 pip value to the corresponding casino in hopes of having the most dice there at the end of the round to win the money at that location. What kind of games are you looking for, Patrick?" He also mentions Ticket to Ride is a great introduction to modern board game design. You are a railroad baron building tracks across the US or other countries and expansions by collecting enough like-colored cards to complete your routes, which are hidden from other players. I've played that game as well, Nick, and it is so much fun. He also says Rhino Hero is a great twist on Jenga. You take turns playing roof cards to a growing tower while also moving the Rhino superhero up the building without knocking it over. Dinosaur Island, this one lets you be John Hammond and recreate your own Jurassic Park. You research DNA, draft dino genomes, build paddocks and attractions, all while trying to keep your visitors from being eaten. I've rambled for too long, I know, but wanted to share my love for the hobby. If you all are ever in the Orlando, Florida area, look me up and we will play some games. From Nick in Orlando, Florida.
Thank you, Nick.
Yes, thank you.
I think Ticket to Ride is the next addition to our house.
So cool.
By the way, we should point out tabletopday.com. The Crew, Geek, and Sundry are behind International Tabletop Day, aka ITTD, and I had no idea this even existed.
That's so cool.
It is cool.
Way to go, Geek and Sundry.
Oh my goodness. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Shannon Morse.
We'll see you next week on TekThing. So we've gone from tabletop games to VR,
Yes.
to digital photo frames.
This was a fun episode, man.
We tried. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yes, hopefully you did. Thank you so much to our patrons, which you can see here.
Scroll and scroll and say what? Sorry.
A really fun tabletop game is Exploding Kittens, which is also somewhat complicated, but once you get the rules down, you can totally play it, and it's hilarious. It's kind of adult, though. Another one.
If you don't like the
Action
oatmeal, you will not like Exploding Kittens.
No, you won't.
That's all I'm saying.
Action News. Justin Robert Young just got his Kickstarter going for that. It was funded and everything, so
Cool.
I should be getting Action News in person, in hand, because I backed his project. So excited. It's like an improv, journalistic, like you're a news anchor type of game, and then people like vote on their
Today in
story.
Oakland, California, kittens exploded in the skies
Yeah.
as Shannon, I Hate Kittens Morris, sat on the top of a small Franklin Avenue building with a shotgun and a bag of dynamite screaming, "Death! Death to the
It's
furry
great.
monsters!"
It's really fun. I got to play one of the test runs, and I was just like, I'm getting this. It's so great.